had a request to take a closer look at this Gras, or Fusil Gras, if I'm pronouncing it right, 1874 rifle. And I'm going to pan up so you can get a view of all 6 foot 2 inches of it with the bayonet on. This is the correct bayonet that would have been issued with this particular rifle rather than the later cruciform Gras bayonet. And the reason for it is I would suspect that it was used mounted occasionally on horseback, of course, when that's why the rifle has brass fittings and the brass hilted rather than the wood hilted bayonet. Now, this variation is one of the rare variations. It's just a hair shorter than the infantry, more common infantry rifle, of which 2.25 million were produced, whereas only about just under 164,000 of these rifles were produced. And this version is known as the police carbine, foot-mounted police, actually. This is a model 1874. Many of these were called, I'm looking at my notes here, the 1866-74, because they were converted from the needle fire 1864 rifle into the 1874 or 1866 rifle into the 1874 rifle, excuse me. This one was not a conversion. This was purpose built as a 1874 black powder cartridge. Fires the 11mm Gras round, which is a bottleneck cartridge. I haven't fired this rifle yet because I just finally got the extractor repaired on it. They are very easy to lose because when you disassemble the bolt, they simply drop right out. And this one was missing. It took a couple of interpreters and some hunting to find in France the correct parts for it, but it's fully ready to go. I have all the reloading supplies, dies, brass, ready to go for it. We're going to load up some black powder rounds and fire it here in the near future. Now this one, we'll take the bayonet off and we'll take a closer look at it and just let it speak for itself. Now we can see here the 1874, and then also under the manufacturer's name, which I won't try and pronounce, Saint Etienne. I'm afraid I do not speak French at all, so forgive me for that. But you see the M80, and that's a modification that was done to the chambers on these. You can see it's single fire, or single shot rather, one round loaded at a time. And you can see the grooves cut into it. That's the M80 modification to assist in ruptured cases to spill the spent gases out. Curved bolt handle, typical of the carbines. The infantry version would have had a straight bolt handle, basically the same shape. The typical volley sights of the era, up to 1,000 meters when raised into position. And the brass hardware. Of course, a cleaning rod. Looks more like a ramrod. Remember, this is coming from that era. The buttstock carries the same number as the rest of the rifle. And of course, the holy water plug. Interesting rumors that that plug was inserted after a priest or religious official had blessed the gun, put a drop of holy water, blessed water into the stock. In actuality, it was probably placed there because military firearms are not allowed to be owned by the public. This originally would have had the date of manufacture stamped there, and since stocks were expensive to replace, that was placed in there to designate it as a military firearm. And the typical civilian could not afford to replace the stock, therefore if they got caught with it, they'd know they had the wrong thing in their hands at the time. And there's the date of manufacture on this firearm, 1882. Of course, no import marks. And it should be wonderfully fun to shoot. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see if we can't get some video footage of that. Typical French period sling. Brass butt plate too. And that interesting floppy trigger. Just a flat blade with a brass trigger guard. So anyway, there we are. The 1874 Gras.